16, 3 out of 8 years. And I know these are all kind of just like, they're almost superficial, really. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Watch Celtic for the purpose of Celtic. But to try and get him inspired in some way, especially when he's dealing on most bases is with like Liverpool fans, Man United and Chelsea. And just like yesterday, I just came down for the week and yesterday was the first game that we got to watch together in a wee while. Just like sitting there watching it with him and trying to convince him that this was worth buying into and all the rest of it. It's a tough sell.
See when you said about his 8-year-old and about the capitalism, I wonder if he's in the same class at school as Jason's wee boy.
Oh, no. I tell you, when you're talking about kids, this was quite a sobering moment this week. My son's into collecting the football cards, so it's different for the sticker books. We used to the Panini ones. It's just cards now, and they've got how good a shot they've got and all that kind of stuff, and they all trade them with each other. So when I went to the Tesco to buy him them, I got him a mixture of Scottish SPFL and the Premiership. And then he came back in yesterday and he says, Dad, I know I'm a Celtic fan and he's got a season ticket, but he says nobody wants to trade the Scottish cards. There's only English ones you can get.
I mean, that's where it's going, really. It's just
bloody hell, the kids, all kids about here, none of them want to trade for the Scottish players. It's all English. I could spend countless hours trying to convince people that it's all just, what was it, I came up with when I was pissed one night, mate, so I was trying to convince one lad not to watch I've got a lot more of a kind of staunch card to play on the English Premier League, but it was off the top of my head when I was slightly skited was it's consumerist soap opera nonsense. Was the one I came up with for the English Premier League, but it is just like, the sad thing is it's like a kind of three-dimensional look at it. Is like, Celtic are in the situation they're in, and obviously the performances and all the rest of it, and taking that aside and then going back to the beginning of the season. But it's just like the financial kind of reality that we're living in at the moment. It's like, for us to be getting marginalised, and this is going completely off topic, but for us to be getting marginalised by clubs like Stoke and West Brom and stuff like that, it kills me. It absolutely kills me. I know. I say one of the things that I really liked about the Celtic model when it originally worked was when you looked at your Wanyamas and Hoopers, and obviously everyone looks at that team the first season in the Champions League where, it was great to watch that team kind of from the moment when they got in the Europa League and the way they progressed through that season and all the rest of it and growing up and all that. It was brilliant. But I think the thing that really struck me with regards to the way that transfer policy had gone was it was almost opposing what the English Premier League seems to do. I mean, I've seen this season that obviously we've got the transfer yellow bar totaliser thing, glamorising how much money all the teams can waste. But just look at how lazy they are. They spend 8 to 10 million on Tom Huddleston and 8 to 10 million on Robert Snodgrass. Now, I'm not saying they're both not good players, but it's just, money's flung about. One of the things that I liked about Celtic was it seemed at the start there was a little bit of imagination and inventive signings coming in, but just, the way it's gone this season and loans and whatever else, it's just, it's oh God. You look at the number.
Can I put on my conspiracy hat and say, is this something that they're kind of going to hold on to so that they can bring back the mighty Rangers? You know what I mean? This is kind of one of those things where we're like, when Rangers get back, things will be different. You know what I mean? Be more competitiveness. And I just have this underlying fucking conspiracy theory in my head that's going they're just dying for that to happen. They're waiting for that to happen, and then they're going to bring back the razzmatazz of Scottish football because we'll be able to go, the old firm's back on that bollocks. Right?
Joe, who do you mean by they? Joe.
The Illuminati.
Well, I think the Celtic board think that.
That's what I mean. Is that something that, I'm not saying it's a ploy. That sounds like, fucking who shot JFK, but do you think they're kind of going once we get Rangers back, we're probably going to sell more season tickets. We're going to have the Derby money that we can generate, and I don't know. I just have this feeling that they're biding their time until Rangers come back, and then things will be different.
No, but they already came out there just the other week, and they spoke about that Rangers not being in the top flight, how it had cost them X amount of money. Even although they came out and said at the start, well, we don't need Rangers to survive and blah 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 blah. I don't think there's any doubt
But the thing is, has anything changed since Rangers went away in terms of like finances? I mean, have you noticed anything changed? I think everything still is pretty much mediocre as it was before in terms of like how the fans are treated, and any question you ask. I mean, you remember we heard years ago at the Dog and Pony Show about the subsidies for buses coming from Ireland. Never fucking happened. No. Right? Now, if there's extra money coming in, like the 15 million from the Champions League, you telling me some of that can't be broke off for like a promise that was kind of somewhat made at the Dog and Pony Show? I mean, for fuck's sake. I
totally agree with you on the fact that, I don't feel, I kind of feel at the depth. I mean, I've just recently graduated, so I'm waiting on a forthcoming situation in regards to a job. So then one of the first things I wanted to do, it was always my aspiration to get through uni and all the rest of it, and then eventually get a job and go to Celtic Park and go see Celtic games and, season ticket and all the rest of it. But regards to how much it costs and all that, it is farcical. And just a quick aside with regards to the way that they treat fans and that, I was actually maybe 4 years ago, I was arrested at a Dundee United game, and it changed my whole course of life and all the rest of it. I was doing architecture originally, and I was a year into the course. I got arrested. I was held up on a sectarian breach of the peace and all that. And that's the reason why I really got into the show, and I wanted to phone you tonight, was because I was, as I say, I'm really sad with regard to podcast enthusiasts, so I go back through all the shows, but the Fans Against Criminalisation and all that stuff, I mean, I'm completely, that's my ballpark for me. That's what I want to do in the future, is I want to help people in what kind of situation I was in originally. But I changed from doing architecture to do law, and it was with that regard, because I just think that the way that the whole system of Scottish football and the way that fans are treated on match day, and how we're almost like a sub-society, and the club don't do much to help that image either, and like general terms either. And it's just a sad state of affairs, really, with regards to the way that, I mean, watching that game with my little brother yesterday and seeing Celtic Park, I know in the European game on Thursday night as well. It's sad to see Celtic Park the way it is.
Can you, mate?
Aye, it's all very sobering, to be honest.
I know.
Fuck, man.
You made some good points, mate. No, I totally agree with you. And I mean, the fact Jeanette's been on this show a lot of times, so if you're looking through the archives,
following off, I'm just in the process of doing all the brutal unfortunately you've not got the experience for this role and all the rest of that kind of applications at the minute. But I mean, my dream was always to get into criminal law, and I'm sorry to detract back onto the side of the margin for the yes and no camp, but it was quite funny in Aberdeen that when I decided that my aspirations were to do criminal law, a lot of the former solicitors and stuff like that we were dealing with in class had said to me, you have to be aware that in the criminal sector there's not very much money in that, as if that's some form of, and it's just the way Aberdeen operates. Obviously it's a completely different world up there, but it was just in regards to the idea of all the folk looking after their own best interests up there. It's just there's not much money in criminal law, mate, so you're not interested in that. But I would love to I'm kind of sitting twiddling my thumbs at the minute, so.
Unfortunately, none of us own any law practices, mate.
No. But I things that I can get involved with regards to Celtic on my way there would be ideal.
Aye, absolutely. We can put you in contact with the guys at Fans Against Criminalisation. They're always looking for a
Yeah, ideal.
Right, Joseph, you're at
and great show, keep up.
Thanks for calling in, Joseph.
Cheers, man.
Thanks for calling, man. Cheers, man.
See you, bye.
Cheers. Wow. That was a whirlwind. Some great points, great call. I don't know if you're about ready to wrap up, if there's anything else you want to touch on.
I just wanted to make one wee thing happen before we go.
Aye, well, I wanted to come to you anyway about the.
Right, well, obviously, I was. The film's been completed now, and I'm absolutely delighted with it. As I said, delighted. I think if anyone doesn't like it, it's brilliant, and I love it. But an addendum since then, because I went on at length about that, was that we've just this weekend confirmed a very, very special, very, very secret guest for the premiere and the charity screening, which will blow everybody's mind when they see who it is. So
Is it Murray?
It's better. It's so there's the premiere sold out, but there's a few tickets left at the charity screening, no many. So if you want to come along to that, go to the askthisyears.com. But it's something we've worked on hard, and it's a real coup. As I say, the film's ready to go. The dates are piling up left, right, and centre with the tour. And I think we've got something where we can tell what really happened, because there's so much garbage out there with people claiming to know this, that, and next thing. We'll show you exactly how the Edinburgh establishment tried to kill our club, tried to propel Rangers to the top of European football, and managed to keep them alive for at least 10 years longer than they should have. Added to that, we'll entertain you. We've got a show. Your host for the evening will be Joe. For the afternoon big band will be Joe Miller. If you're not review, I'll be doing something. We'll have a singer. We'll have all sorts of things going on, and a few wee surprises as well for people coming along. So, if you want to go to the charity screening, 16th of November, 2 o'clock, theaskthisyears.com, £10 a ticket. Very few left, but you'll jump in now. You'll get some, and you'll meet a very special and very secret guest.
You said it's a real coup. Is it Ruth Davison?
Only people from Clackmannanshire will get that because of the accent, I think.
So, aye. So that's right. So then the film's all done. It's ready to go. The tour's all set, and I mean, if people are still wanting to add dates, Paul, people can still get in contact.
Aye, I mean, it's as I tried to explain on Friday, because inevitably, if you try and do absolutely anything, there's always people who will be like, it's just you're in it for yourself. This, that, next thing. We've got a thing working on, as Harper can verify, about the film wants to try and make Celtic supporters clubs money. So we charge a nominal fee to come and show the film and do an intro and do a Q&A and all that kind of thing, and then the rest of the night's yours. And all you've got to do is effectively have a place to hold it, because the film can be connected to a laptop, to a screen, or a DVD player to a screen if that's your thing. Very, very simple setup, and then the rest of the night's yours. But we're not looking for big money, we're looking for make people money, etc., etc., etc. And we're adding dates all the time, and there's a lot of people kind of like saying, well, we might be interested in this, and I say, well, they'll need to be quick, you know what I mean? Because, we had someone who had come to us and was like, we'll just take it in November. I was like, sorry, all the dates in November are gone. Right. And this is the way it's gone. So because
they've got to remember, you've got a life as well, like, no, you're down to
aye. I mean, it's obviously it's pretty much restricted to weekends and stuff.
Yeah.
But certainly, we'll take it to as many places as want it.
So obviously, I mean, I've got a committee meeting with our club tomorrow night. We're going to try and add in the date in Drogheda, the Friday night before you're in Dublin on the Saturday night. You've got to leave Podrick CSC in the Badass Cafe and Temple Bar. So we're going to try and take the opportunity, because you're in Ireland that weekend, and we'll try and do something on Friday night. Now, I can tell you now, it's all about just the venue, like, no. And the Sarsfield's our bar isn't really, we couldn't really put it on in there for a number of reasons. It's just not going to work out. And the venue, I've got my own's across the road. But let's just say the two pubs didn't really get on with each other, the owners. So we've got to try and do this without putting the guy who knows how to join, who hosts us every week, sort of thing. So I'm going in to see about that tomorrow night. But I'd say I'm 90% sure that there'll be a showing in Drogheda on Friday, the 5th of December. And obviously we'll be able to pull in people from Dundalk and Balbriggan and stuff like that. And we'll maybe even get one of the singer-songwriters who's wrote a song for the...
Aye, and I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because I said this on Friday, was that Joe, I think, the trait he definitely shares with me is talking, and everybody else says, you're always talking yourself doing, and I think Joe talks his talent doing, and as I say, one of the tips, because obviously you license a few songs, that people have, that are much more famous and established, but that costs money, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You can't keep stay that way, innit? So one of the tips that the editor said to me was, what you should say to people that know what they're doing is to say, this is the kind of song I'm looking for, and then go. And the song that I said to Joe was Don't Believe the Hype by Public Enemy. Yep. And, when I said that to people were like, wait a minute, doesn't Joe come from Belfast and he stays in Balbriggan and he's Irish? And I was like, right, okay, we'll just you wait and see them, because I think that what Joe has done with the song, both in terms of the music and the lyrics, it's just absolutely mind-blowing, and I think people will absolutely love it.
When I was listening to the podcast at my work on Saturday, this is Joe just calling back in, actually, I'm saying to myself, I'm going to have to get Joe to let me hear this. But I thought, nah, I'll just wait and hear it as part of the film.